One of my favourite events of the Circocan calendar is the New Year's Eve show. They invited me to take part again this year. So one of my jobs before the event was to assist the artists in putting the aerial square act together. During the show I was one of the performer riggers, helping fly people during the show, and also you can probably catch a glimpse of me somewhere in the footage of singing as part of the team in Portuguese.
We wanted to perform a show that would bring from traditional circus, from old circus, all the way to modern circus, and then to contemporary circus, a whole history about circus and art. One of the most special things in the show was to bring people from several places, from several different arts, music, theater, circus, dance, and put them in one show, in one special show. We wanted to perform a show that would be emotional, that would bring people into the show with their emotions, with their experiences in the past, and bring them to a circus experience that could put everyone into the show, from kids to old people. So the idea behind the show was to provide a performance that would integrate with the whole New Year's Eve party itself. This is the second year we performed this hotel, and the year before, the first we were there, what they did, they told us a theme. Oh, the theme of New Year's Eve is going to be this, and we had to perform something that had to do with it. But this time what we did, we proposed them, why don't we talk about this or that? Well, why don't we talk about remembering your past with your family and the memories and how you remember things in your life and how you value things. So we try to do the whole evening itself is supposed to be something more integrated with the family, with their memories, and how things develop from back time, old time, up to now. So the whole idea of the show was to develop and to draw like a timeline from back in the day up to now. We started in the old days, the very traditional circus, like the lions and the animals and the very traditional clowns and that kind of humor that was very, very traditional. And we developed to modern circus all the way to contemporary circus. So we started with really, the lighting, the costumes, everything was really old, and then a little more modern, a little more 50s, 60s up to now, very contemporary and very using less colors and everything more contemporary and stuff like that. So that was the whole idea, drawing like a timeline where you could see the very beginning of circus, how it started back in the day, and then something more towards the 20th century and up to now these days. Yeah, it was a very odd creation this time because our director was in Germany, so half of the staff, half of the team was here in Brazil, in different cities. The other half was in Europe. And the director himself, he was in Europe directing the show. So the whole creation of the show started on Skype, how we developed the idea. Before getting hired, we talked to the hotel in a Skype meeting with the directors of the hotel, with the artistic director, myself, and we developed the theme and how we would work with that and how the party would integrate with the performance. And then we started creating the storyline and what everyone would do and how we approach this theme, how we approach that. And the rigging had to communicate with the creation because the director wasn't there. So the director had to know what rigging was doing, what venue was. So everything was integrated, but it was like a long distance creation up to 12 days before the show. So the whole staff, the whole crew just got together 12 days before the show. So Maria, she's a professional dancer, theater director, ballerina, gymnast. She's a really complete artist. And she helped with the storyline, she helped developing the characters for each person, and also drawing the costumes and how that costume will fit well with that piece in time, and how we developed from that piece to a more modern cut of time. So that was very important to have someone that has the artistic, the acrobatic, but also the performance side of everything, and that can draw and that can develop a whole show. It has always been a dream of Circocan since I started circus to put live music in the show, and when we started performing we couldn't afford to do that, but this time we made sure we wanted to bring something more into the performance, and that was the whole plan. We brought 2 musicians from another city here in Brazil, from Deep South, and they sometimes work as clowns and as actors here and there. It was their first time performing circus, but the whole story, the whole show relied on them. Everything was relying on live music and how music would be played and how the act would develop with the live music. So they had like fundamental, like a really important role in the show. When we developed from the really ancient circus, the old circus, into modern 50s, 60s circus. In Brazil, back in the 50s and the 60s, actually in the 60s, Brazil was under a dictatorship. Politics was really complicated in Brazil. And there's a song that really talks about politics and how we develop from our parents and how they give us an example and how we try to keep that going, the mood. So it's really that something that throws people into back in the day, especially parents and grandparents. So one of the songs right in the middle of the show brought that up, and how the music can point one time in history and that can change the whole mood of the story. And right in the end, the last song of the show, the last act of the show, was the whole crew singing a song about the train and how a train goes every night to a different location without knowing it's going to get there, when it's going to get there. And it reminds me of a Brazilian musician. He's a really famous musician from Brazil. And he wrote that song when he was living. He used to live inland of Brazil. And he left his former city, his home city, to a big city like São Paulo without knowing what was going to happen. He just left because he wanted to get a career with music. And he wrote this song about the train. So there goes the train overnight, not knowing what was going to happen the next day. So the whole idea was to relate that, link that into circus, because traditional circus and even circus these days is about not knowing what's going to happen the next day. You just want to perform well tonight or today. Doesn't matter what's going to happen tomorrow, because risk is involved all the time. Risk of your life, risk of putting yourself out there. So that was the whole link of doesn't matter what's going to happen tomorrow. We just want to give something nice tonight.
Today I was doing three numbers. I don't know how do you say in English, numbers, or 3 little parts of the show. And the first one was with Nicole. It was a duet, like 2 ballerinas that come alive from this music box. And then we do a scene together, and then after I was singing for Pedro to do his steps, and after I was singing a very strong music for Brazilian culture, that it's really political for a very special moment in our history.
Pela minha paixão, digo que estou encantada com uma nova invenção. Eu vou ficar nessa cidade.
My name is Nicole.
And what were you doing in the show today, Nicole?
And I did hand-to-hand and an act with hoops and ribbons, and I was a contestant too.
My name is Luisa.
And what were you doing in the show today?
I'm doing aerial square. It's a kind of trapeze, but no.
Was it difficult to learn?
Yes, but I have great coach, and I'm learning. I'm just starting the techniques, and it's really new for me.
Today I'm just working with the rigging stuff in general, but for the first time we tried to make it like working together, like at the same time that I'm working with the rigging stuff, we also on scene, so that's why we have the makeup and the costumes, because we don't want it to make like a fade in and fade out to put the act all together. We use like the riggers also part of the show.
As you can tell.
Yeah.
I'm playing guitar, acoustic guitar, and a little bit of drums, percussion.
Excellent. So the musical accompaniment for today.
Yeah, me and Bernardo, the musicians of the show.
Bernardo, you also have an additional role to play, I understand.
Yes, I'm a clown in the stage and I play violin.
Production-wise, the show was very successful because we were able to get different people that never had worked before, and we brought them from long distance with not much time to produce the show, and we were able to in a week have a show ready. For the first time we had time to do 3 or 4 dress rehearsals, even with like small audience, so we could try that out. So it was very satisfactory to have people coming from outside, understanding the process and fitting well into the process and helping and creating and not having arguments and everyone work in the same direction. It happens, you know, but it was a very special staff. It was a very special crew because everyone worked in the same direction from day one up to final day. It was very special in that way, yes.